Welcome back to the Berean Preterist. My name is Richard Eckhart, and yes, this will be a shorter video. The last video I did was 4 hours long, and it was documenting something that has been taking place with Gary DeMar. That is ongoing, by the way, but I'll talk about that in the future. This will be a short video, relatively short, I promise. And this has to do with the new kid on the block when it comes to Covenant Eschatology Full Preterism, or the Max King cult. And if you take a look at this picture right here, this happens to be from a conference that was maybe a year or two ago. And the guy all the way on the left-hand side is Zach Davis. So he is the new star of the show. Whereas Don Preston, who happens to be in this image as well, Don Preston is handing down the mantle. Sort of all of them are, as a matter of fact. Zach Davis is asserting himself as a leader, as the leader in this cult. So in this particular picture, on the left is Zach Davis. Next to him is Joel Rosenauer. Both of these guys are post-COVID-19. There's been a lot of changes and a lot of growth within the Covenant Eschatology Full Preterism cult post-COVID. So Zach Davis and Joel Rosenauer, those are post-COVID guys. And then there's Mike Sullivan. He's been around a long time, decades. And then there's David Curtis next to him. He's been around for a long time as well. Robert Cruikshank, or Bob Cruikshank, is next to him, the third from the right. And he's also relatively new, just within the past few years. He's making his mark as well in the cult. He's definitely ecumenical, if you will, or oneness or peace, harmony. Actually, all of them are. They all have this idea that there's going to be unity within this cult. And Robert Cruikshank happens to be one of these guys that really pushes this unity. And with all of them, you're not allowed to ask the difficult questions. If you ask the difficult questions, they will definitely label you. Up to a point, they're going to be nice, but then they're going to label you. They're going to call you names, and then they'll block you. They'll shove you away, which recently took place to me with a girl by the name of Ashton Nichols, who was also new and making her mark. But she blocked me. I saved the screenshots for that, and I'm going to do a video on that as well, and how I challenged her as it concerns the word parousia, or presence, the Greek word parousia, which means presence. But anyway, third from the left is Bob Cruikshank. Third from the right is Bob Cruikshank. Second from the right is Don Preston. He has been, for 35 years now, he has definitely been the leader of the Max King cult, or the Covenant Eschatology Full Preterism cult. Don Preston has written over 30 books on the topic of Covenant Eschatology, out from Max King. He personally knew Max King, as did William Bell and Ed Stevens. And that has a little bit to do with this particular article that I wrote today that I'm going to read. And then it is, on the right-hand side, it is Travis Drum. But yeah, it's the guy on the left. His name is Zach Davis. He's making quite the mark when it comes to YouTube subscribers and content that he creates, and the charm that he has. And I use that word in its most sinister way when you go about charming somebody. And let's just say putting a spell on somebody, frankly. And I guess that I should preface this particular video with me saying that I absolutely 100% believe in demons, literal evil spirits, demons. Personally, I've had a lot of experience with literal demons, literal evil spirits. So when I say literal evil spirits, demons, I'm talking about fallen angels that are and have been aligned with Satan himself, that ancient serpent, as John would say, that ancient serpent, Satan, the devil, capital D, as an evil spirit himself, as a messenger of darkness. And even if one were to take the full preterist view of Satan being cast into the lake of fire, it does not necessitate that the other evil spirits have been cast into the lake of fire. There's nothing in Scripture that would intimate that would point towards that happening. So it kind of blows my mind when you have people who say that they are Christians and they say that they don't believe in demons, literal evil spirits, because quite frankly, they're possessing so many people, they're oppressing so many people, and I would go as far as saying, and I touch upon that in this article, I would go as far as saying that in the Max King cult, Covenant Eschatology Full Preterism, we're dealing with possession. I'm 100% sure of that. I will not recant that. Like I said, I've had extensive experience throughout the past 40 years of being saved with demons, with literal demons. And I'll get into my testimony in the future as far as some of the things that I've personally been through. But in many ways, I'm a walking miracle with what I've been through. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy, the things in my life that I've been through. But here I am. And apologetics and cult studies is my favorite thing to do. And geopolitics. I love the geopolitical scene, world affairs. Let's get right into this article because I don't want this video to carry on because I've had a lot of people get in touch with me, and I've kind of said that I would do this 6 months ago and 8 months ago, where I would do shorter videos and I would do 3 or 4 a week, and that is my goal. Hopefully by the end of this year and going into 2026, that would be my goal. Shorter videos, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and 3, 4, 5 a week, and all kinds of topics. Certainly not just full preterism or partial preterism, or what I call new post-millennialism that is being formulated right now by certain guys. But anyway, let's get right into this article here. And by the way, I put this article, I happen to put this on my personal Facebook page, Richard Eckhart, and it is also on newandliving.com, which is where I put almost all of my articles. When I do my articles, I'll definitely put them on newandliving.com. I'll put them on X, I'll put them on Instagram, and about 10 Facebook groups. And the Berean Preterist is also on Facebook. If you wanted to get a hold of me on Facebook, the Berean Preterist on Facebook, or you could send me an email, rich@newandliving.com, newandliving.com. Send me an email, any questions, I'll get back to you. But anyway, let's dig in here. We're going to start right at the top here. Right at the top here where it says, somebody in a group. And this somebody, by the way, is a good friend of everybody who happens to be, let me get back to here. This is a good friend who happens to be administrating a group on Facebook. His name is Barry, and he really is a kind soul. I mean, who doesn't get along with Barry? But when I mentioned in this particular article somebody, it was Barry. So I just thought I would throw a little plug in for Barry. He's a good guy. He really is. Trying to work, I would say, maybe trying to work out his own salvation with fear and trembling, which is a good thing to do. But anyway, getting back to this article. Somebody in a group, hint Barry, somebody in the group brought up the new Max Kingism Hot Shots subscriber numbers, and this happens to do with YouTube, and this is an article on Zach Davis, and his numbers just are going through the roof as far as the subscribers, and I'll talk about that a little bit in this article as far as his charm and appeal, feeding the flesh in other people, because I'm 100% sure he's not a Christian, in as much as I would say that about all the guys who are in this picture right here. Not Christians. They have a false Christ. They have especially a false gospel. And I don't mind saying that. I'm just going to expose them for what they are. They are not Christians, including Zach Davis. They're con men, frauds. Getting back to the article. Somebody in a group brought up the new Max Kingism Hot Shots subscriber numbers, Zach Davis, and my very low subscriber numbers were mentioned, which I'm quite happy with, by the way. The following is my response to this comment. So I in fact, did make a comment on that particular Facebook group. And this is my comment that I'm going to read here and make this video on, and not elaborate on it, but we'll just get through this video. So this is it's a longer comment, but it is what it is. I love to write. Writing is my passion. Not so much videos, frankly. I'm happy my YouTube channel is as pathetic as it is after 8 or so years. I refuse to sell my soul to demons to get popular. Zach Davis has sold his soul. He's feeding the flesh in others and tickling ears. He is working it from every angle. Like Preston, Bell, Sullivan, Curtis, and others in the club, that would be the Max King cult, Covenant Eschatology Full Preterism cult, Zach is a narcissist who wants his slice of the pie. He's going all the way. And then right here we are. What Don Preston could only dream of, Zach is making it happen. But Don knows he played his part. He's got to pass the mantle to Zach. This goes for others as well, like William Bell. The old crew paved the way for Zach to step on the scene and become the Messiah of Max Kingism. When you sell your soul to demons, they come knocking, and you've got to open the door and let them in, especially if you want to make it big. Zach is the perfect tool and puppet for demons. He has a totally corrupt foundation, and he's willing to morph his views according to what will sell and grow his brand. Max Kingism needed a guy like Zach, and the others in this cult now have to bow to his power in the demonic realm. He is now the spokesperson in the Covenant Eschatology Full Preterism cult, and he will step into a bigger role than just teaching a heretical form of eschatology. Like Ed Stevens wanted to be my pastor, teacher, and guide, with having me submit to his alleged authority in this cult, even Gary DeMar is trying to take Zach under his wings in the obvious hope that Zach will be good for his American vision business. But this is just a stepping stone for Zach, as he surely wants to surpass Gary DeMar in popularity and stardom. I refuse to sell my soul to literal demons the way Zach has done so. The Lord Jesus Christ has set me free from some far out stuff. And I've been around the block a few times. I've seen things. And I can easily see that Zach Davis is possessed, like Don Preston, William Bell, and others in this cult are possessed. Like other popular teachers in this cult have come up with their own flavor of Max Kingism, Zach has already broken away with his own flavor, and he will want others to get on board with his flavor and brand of Max Kingism. Like others, he will syncretize this and syncretize that in order to con people into believing he's incredibly unique among others out there who are teaching eschatology and Christianity. Like Don Preston, if he has to change major heretical doctrines he's had in order to save face and keep his tribe on board and grow his brand, he'll just say that he's not afraid to change his views as he's learning, as Don Preston and William Bell and other people have done throughout the years. They have a corrupt foundation, so they are constantly reinventing themselves and doing, more and more heretical and blasphemous stuff on top of heresy that is already there. I'm going to read that again. Like Don Preston, if he has to, and this is talking about Zach, like Don Preston, if he has to change major heretical doctrines he's had in order to save face and keep his tribe on board and grow his brand, he'll just say that he's not afraid to change his views as he's learning. And this goes out to those who are into the Covenant Eschatology Full Preterism cult. The old crew won't remember this, but there's been a lot of growth, the old crew will remember this, but there's been so much growth in the Max King cult over the past 3 years that most people won't even remember this. And this is what I write. Remember the whole, quote, Christ's physical body burned up at the ascension, end quote, in order to try and, quote, hide the body, end quote, thing that Don Preston heretically taught, which was, it was wackadoodle. Let me read that again. Remember the whole Christ's physical body burned up at the ascension in order to try and hide the body thing that Don Preston heretically taught? I'm sure I'll do a video on that in the future. Again, I've done some videos on that. Zach will pay a huge price for his rise to stardom. He already has, but he's just rolling with it. This is what happens when you sell your soul to demons. They come knocking with demands. And if you want to maintain your stardom, there's huge prices to pay. The invisible, dark, demonic dimension loves guys like Zach Davis who are hungry, eager, and willing to do anything to become a star. Witchcraft, we are right here. Witchcraft is all about ascertaining your selfish desires through various evil demonic means. And this is even done within a community that lifts you up in you getting your desires. This is where Zach Davis is at. He's learning all the skills to become more and more popular. He's learning how to work it in order to get what he wants. And the Covenant Eschatology Full Preterism cult community is enabling him and looking out for one of their own. I know what authority is all about, especially authority in an invisible dimension. When somebody like Zach Davis opens the doors to the demonic the way he already has, they will get massively used. Zach is hungry and he wants it. The timing just wasn't right for the old crew in Max Kingism. But now it's time to take this heresy and blasphemy to the world. Even Ed Stevens put his tail between his legs in pathetic emasculation, and he deferred himself to Zach Davis in a video. Zach made a fool out of Ed in the video, but I'm sure it'll never be perceived this way by the cult members. Nobody has had Max King's charisma, charm, and influence until now. It's really sad that people don't understand how literal evil spirits as demons work. They will wait decades and even hundreds and thousands of years to find the right person to literally possess and use. Max King was a narcissistic, Campbellite, Church of Christ minister who wanted it bad, just like Zach Davis wants it bad now. Possession truly happens, and certain demons look for the right people to possess, like Max King and Zach Davis. Zach will be used in this cult until he won't. It's similar to everybody else in this cult, including somebody who just physically died a few days ago. But Zach has really opened himself up to be possessed and used. He's hungry for fame, popularity, celebrity, and influence. We all get to watch and see how it plays out. Like Max King, Ed Stevens, Don Preston, and William Bell, who are all founders and fathers in this cult. Let me read that again. Like Max King, Ed Stevens, Don Preston, and William Bell, all founders and fathers in this cult, Zach wants to be the mediator between God and man in people's lives. These narcissists want to play the role of the Holy Spirit and Jesus Christ in people's lives. Zach Davis might as well say at the beginning of every video, "Come to me, all you who labor and who are heavy laden, and I will give you rest." Literal demons are very real, and Zach is being used big time. And the clever part is that Zach teaches one of the popular false doctrines in this cult that says that Satan in the New Testament was only Israelite leadership. Demons love tools and puppets like Zach today. Sell your soul and get popular today by teaching heresy, blasphemy, and all kinds of doctrines of demons. The many in the world are not genuinely saved by God, and they go looking for where they can get their flesh fed and their ears tickled. And to become popular in today's world means that you're very good at doing this very thing to people. Religion is no different than sports, Hollywood, music, politics, and more. If you want to be a star, you've got to sell your soul. And it's a high price. As the demons come knocking to collect one day, while you then have no say in the matter, but you enjoyed your stardom while you could, here in the world that we all know for now. Then the afterlife begins. And I'm going to read that last paragraph and finish this up. And we're right down here. Religion is no different than sports, Hollywood, music, politics, and more. If you want to be a star, you've got to sell your soul. And it's a high price as the demons come knocking to collect one day, while you then have no say in the matter. But you enjoyed your stardom while you could here in the world that we all know for now. Then the afterlife begins. And in my article here, it says, Zach Davis is going places. Let's all watch where he goes. And this is Zach Davis right over here, the guy on the left. So yeah, I'm not gonna dig into this much more than I did here. It's self-explanatory. Do I believe these guys are possessed? Yeah, possession is not always somebody, writhing on the ground and screaming and yelling. Manifestation happens in different ways, but somebody who is possessed by demons or a demon can go to work. They could be a pastor on a pulpit. They could be a family man. It's a misnomer. It's wrong to say that somebody who is demon possessed will will be screaming, and of course that can happen. It does happen. Somebody who is radically possessed could be, quote unquote, out of their mind, and but it's not always the case when it comes to oppression and possession. When you're dealing with, like I said, Hollywood and music and sports, if you want it and you want it bad enough, there's a price to pay. There's a huge price to pay. And you'll be possessed. You will be possessed, and you'll be used for darkness and evil. And it happens in all facets of life, not just religion, but like I said, sports and politics, business, big business, and military. So I guess the last thing I'd like to say is, if you want to get in touch with me, rich@newandliving.com. Go ahead and send me an email. I'll gladly answer any questions you've got, especially on the gospel, being saved by Jesus. And just so you know, I'm going to point you to the cross. I'm going to point you to what happened on the cross. I'm not going to point you to AD 70, like these heretics and blasphemers in the Covenant Eschatology Full Preterism cult, because their soteriology, which is a fancy word for salvation, is messed up. It's a false gospel that is AD 70 based. And they have the church get saved in AD 70. The church wasn't saved in AD 70. The church was saved on the cross. And there is means by which the church is saved, and that happens to be the biological blood and body sacrifice of Jesus on the cross. And if you're looking to learn a little bit more about just the gospel and how to be saved, being baptized with the Holy Spirit by God, you could reach out to me, rich@newandliving.com. And I don't even, if we talk a little bit, I can get you my phone number, and we could even talk on the phone, because outreach is really important when it comes to people truly being saved, not with a false gospel like these guys have. And they have a false Jesus Christ as well. And we'll dig into that a lot more in the future. Thanks for watching. Be blessed. And we'll catch up next time. Peace.